they had these join the dot coloring books. You must remember those. And just like most little kids, they did not color perfectly inside the lines. One of my life mantras is like the lyrics of a popular song that goes like this. I still fall on my face sometimes. I can't color inside the lines. I'm perfectly incomplete. I'm still working on my masterpiece. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here today to show you a little bit of my incomplete masterpiece, specifically 5 dots, 5 discoveries that I connected to bring myself on stage here today. It was Steve Jobs who said, you cannot connect the dots looking forwards. You have to connect them looking backwards. Looking back through my life, I could often see a pattern of the universe marking out dots that connected from across my past through to the present and mapping out my future. But sometimes I missed those dots. They were too faint. Like my first time ever on a stage, I was just 20 and I had traveled from Mangalore to Bangalore to attend a seminar on biotechnology at Vishveshwaraya Museum. That day I discovered 2 things. Number 1, that I like public speaking. And number 2, that I love biotechnology. I chose to ignore that first dot, but I pursued my master's in biotech at Pune. Back again to Mangalore, I started looking for a suitable job. My parents started looking for a suitable boy. Unfortunately, I discovered that the best jobs were far away here in Bangalore. Fortunately, we also discovered that the best boys were here in Bangalore. The main dot of my masterpiece, the reason I moved to Bangalore and love it, is sitting right here in the audience. My parents, meanwhile, having done their duty of marrying me off, now chose to live their lives. And the first thing they did was to join Toastmasters. They've been members for 20 years, and that was the second dot. They often asked me to join, but I thought public speaking wasn't for me. Meanwhile, I was married, but still unemployed, and completely ignoring my mother's advice. Please, for heaven's sake, at least take up a teaching job. I swore I would never be a teacher like she is. Of course, the universe laughed. A former classmate got me a teaching job as a lecturer in a college. Teaching biotechnology to these young students, I discovered the third dot, that I like being on stage, inspiring bright young minds. 3 years in the US, and my husband and I returned to Bangalore with my baby daughter in my arms. After that, we chose to follow a dream, and my son joined us through adoption. At this point, we joined an adoptive parent support group for whom I used to volunteer for 2 things. One was writing, and the other was emceeing. The third faint dot that I missed. Having discovered my love of words through writing for this group, I naturally moved into my next career as a freelance content writer. I also blogged a lot on the side about my pet topics, feminism, adoption, parenting, and so on. My next step was into the corporate world, where I am a communication specialist. 5 years in the corporate world, and in May 2017, I found myself stagnating, lost, and not knowing what the next step was. At this point, the universe decided it had had enough of being ignored and penciled in the 5th dot so very prominently that I could not miss it anymore. One of those blogs that I'd written 6 years back was discovered by none other than TED Talks, who reached out to me, little unimportant me, and asked me to audition for a new TV show that they were launching on Star TV called Nayi Soch in October, hosted by none other than King Khan. I jumped at this with a sublime fierceness that surprised me. I was beginning to hear what the universe had been trying to tell me for 20 years. Unfortunately, although I was shortlisted by TED Talks, Star TV didn't take to my idea. I was really dejected. But then I brightened up because I discovered I had enjoyed the public speaking process, and maybe it was time to connect the dots. My enjoying myself at that seminar, my loving teaching on stage, writing, emceeing, my parents being Toastmasters, and finally TED Talks thinking that I was worthwhile. It was time I finally answered the call of Toastmasters. And so here I am today before you, so very excited to be finally starting this journey. Let me end with the lyrics of the same song. I've got a way to go, but it's worth the wait. You haven't seen the best of me. I'm still working on my masterpiece. Over to you.